at 7:11 p.m. Due to the coronavirus pandemic, this meeting is being held electronically using a teleconferencing application called Zoom. So we are operating under the following procedures. So just bear with me. I'm going to tick off my listing here just so we're all aware. The session is being recorded both for audio and visual content and is under the control of a Zoom host. And I have Amy St. Ange, I believe, online here. To ensure sound quality, and the default rule for this meeting is that everyone will remain on mute. Commissioners and staff will generally remain on mute except when speaking or voting, and will generally be keeping video of themselves on throughout the meeting. Applicants and members of the public should feel free to leave their video on or off. However, they will be asked to turn on their video when speaking. If, however, video is not available for you, you will not be precluded from speaking at the appropriate time and may listen to the meeting. During the meeting, everyone is asked to state their name each and every time they speak. Please use the raise your hand feature to let me and the host of this meeting know that you've raised your hand so as to be recognized to speak. If for some reason you don't have that function working, let us know in another way. Members of the public may only speak during the portion of the agenda established for citizens' comments on agenda items. For individuals representing applicants, permittees, and violators listed in the agenda and their representatives, if you're speaking at this meeting and have a document to submit to the Commission, which was not distributed in advance of the meeting with the rest of the materials, please indicate that you wish to submit the document. You'll need to hold it up to the camera so that we may view it. In addition, you'll be required to email an electronic version of the document in PDF format, or take a photograph of it and email it to the Wetlands agent, Marla, at wetlands@thompsonct.org. Marla will include it in the permanent records of the Commission. If a member of the public tries to communicate outside of the citizens' comments on agenda items portion of the meeting, or if any person creates an audio or video disruption, they may be manually ejected by the Zoom host from the meeting upon my request. So it's now time to call a roll. All right, Commissioner Obert.
Charlie Obert, Commissioner.
Okay. Commissioner Chapin.
Diane Chapin, Commissioner.
Commissioner Moreno.
Commissioner Morano, present.
George O'Neill, Commissioner, Chair. Marla.
Marla Butts here.
And Ashley.
Ashley Bohm's here.
Ashley's here. All right. So we, commissioners of the order has been, the roll has been called. We have a quorum. Have a recommendation to appoint the alternates.
You do that
Oh, okay.
by yourself, George. You don't need a motion.
All right, then. Okay, I'll get my Robert's rules down someday. I will appoint, I noticed Barbara Roach is present. You'll be appointed as an alternate for this meeting. Thank you. Moving on, action on minutes of the previous meeting, the minutes of August 11th, 2020. Are there any changes or modifications?
Move to accept them.
Okay, move to accept, and do we need a second on that?
All right, it's Diane Chapin. I'll do a second.
Okay, the minutes have been reviewed, motion made and seconded, and the minutes will stand as read. Next item is citizens' comments on agenda items. Do we have any citizens that have comments? I don't see any hand raises. All right. No citizens' comments on the agenda items. We're going to move next to the applications, starting with the old applications. And for this section, what I'd like to do is to move to the PowerPoint presentation so that we can take a look here. Okay, so just give me a moment so I can share my screen and I will do that now. All right. Marla, can you see that screen?
Yes, I can.
All right. So,
Okay,
yep.
so Mr. Audette did get his NDDH approval, and he's been working on getting the roof runoff handled. Just today, he submitted some details about an articulating concrete block for use to keep the slope, the top of slope stable. He sent me some photographs today also. These, of course, are not shared with you. I expect that if the articulating block that he has provided for, once he modifies the plan to show where he wants to put this articulating concrete block, then I'll move forward with approving the application. But I don't have his revised drawing yet. So I'm waiting for a revised drawing for handling of the roof runoff.
I see. Any further action required then, or?
No, not
Move
at this time.
All right, moving on to the next item. We have WA 20009, Hallett, Merrick, Plum Road, Assessors Map 85, Block 52, Lot 12, construction of a single-family home, septic system, and portion of a home proposed in the 100-foot upland review area, stamped received on 4/13/2020, under review pending receipt of additional information.
This application is being handled by Bruce Woodis of KWP. I believe he has been on the screen. I see him that he had logged in. And he's working on developing up a revised plan and expects that that will be submitted in the next week or so. And once I have that additional information, I'll be able to determine if I can issue a wetlands agent approval on that.
I see.
So I'm still awaiting a revised plan.
Okay, no further comments on that? Moving on. Am I out of order here? That's 9. Okay.
Yes, you are.
Okay,
Too
now
far
we're
up.
Which one?
To be on James Jasmine.
That's it.
Right there.
All right. So the next item is item 3, IWA 20011, James Jasmine, 518 Brady Hill Road, Assessors Map 143, Block 16, Lot 37. And after the fact, application for partial demolition of retaining wall and construction of a new retaining wall and aquatic reservoir. Stamp received on 5/6/2020, statutorily received on 5/14/2020. What do we have on that?
My last communication with DEP was on August 10th. I had a phone call with them on July 27th. I followed that up with an email confirming the conversation that I had with them, where I was asking them to provide a position regarding ownership of the land upon which the wall now sits. Not having heard from them, I was expecting that they would at least give me a timeline when they would respond by, because I knew they couldn't respond by August 1st, which had been my first request in the letter that I sent to the commissioner. So I wrote to them, to Nicole Lugli, and copied Daniel Blanchette, Robert Hannon, who works at DEP, and Brian Florek, who is the land surveyor. And I wrote, "Hi, Nicole, since our phone call on July 27th, 2020, can you provide me with a timeline for a response to the questions in my letter to Commissioner Dykes? I have an Inland Wetlands Commission meeting tomorrow night and will need to give them a status update. I appreciate the difficulties the COVID pandemic and the tropical storm Elias, I can't even pronounce it, has caused. If I don't hear from you, I will report on my letter and our subsequent phone call. Thank you for your time, Marla." And I have not still heard back from them. So my next course of action is to send another email to Commissioner Dykes and ask for a response. Because the governor's executive orders granted a 90-day extension on the processing of land use applications, this one, it does not need to be decided today. It probably will need to be decided by the October meeting.
All right. Thank you.
So you want me to send an email to Commissioner Dykes and
Well,
ask?
That would seem to make sense. Other commissioners, do you have comments or recommendations on this application? Yeah.
Then I'll
well,
do that.
Then
I'll
let's
just
send a
an email.
reminder. Is there some way we can have we'll have to make a determination once the temporary order expires. You'd think they'd have deemed approval somehow in these things. I guess we don't.
Well, the last time that I sent the commissioner a letter and forwarded an email copy to her, that caused quite a bit of upsetment at DEP. I was told by Ms. Lugley.
Well, maybe it's time to cause some more.
They wanted to know why I didn't just send it to her directly. I said I didn't know who was in control at DEP. There were two issues. One was the natural diversity database response, and the other was their position about ownership of the land upon which the wall sits and the flowage rights. And so I still haven't gotten those answers.
Okay, let's follow up, move forward. Moving on to the next item. Okay, does this go with this is the most recent one we just spoke about. All right, IWA 20022, Mark Bear, 1227 Thompson Road, Assessors Map 116, Block 24, Lot 10, construct house, well, septic system, driveway, and associated grading, stamped, received on 6/16/2020, converted to an individual permit application and statutorily received 7/14/2020.
Okay, I would like to preface this that there was a letter sent out on August 21st to Daniel Blanchette identifying a number of issues that I had. There's a copy that was sent on the Zoom documents. Subsequent to that, I received electronic versions of revised plans dated revised September 1st. The hard copy of those plans was received on September 4th. So the electronic version that you see of the plans is what I received electronically from Daniel Blanchette, and they appear to be the same as what I received in hard copy.
All right, we have that displayed on the
Maybe the easiest thing
screen.
would be for Mr. Blanchette to go down through the request for clarification and additional information line by line, and just to verify what changes he made to the plan so that you are aware of what those changes were.
Okay, Mr. Blanchette, are you available on the call?
Yes, I am.
All right, so perhaps for the record, if you would state your qualifications, your role here, and maybe you can address the questions that the wetlands agent posed.
Of course, of course. Good evening, everyone. My name is Daniel Blanchette. I'm a professional engineer in the state of Connecticut. I work with J&D Civil Engineers out of Thompson, and I'm here on behalf of my client, Mark Bear. So just to run through the letter that's before you with some of Marlon's questions or suggestions. 1A, we have identified the limits of land disturbance. On the first sheet, there's a dashed line that kind of shows the extent of the grading. 1B.
If you're not speaking, please mute your mic, please, because someone is, we're getting a lot of feed over here. Thank you. I'm sorry, Mr. Blanchette. Please proceed.
Thank you, thank you. 1B, adjust the proposed grades to reflect any proposed filling not currently identified. I did address this. This is, I think, in response to the southern border of the property. The homeowner intended to do a little bit of grading that I wasn't aware of previously, so now we're showing that on our plan. So that leads into 1C, actually. Again, doing a little bit of grading and filling along the southern border. I don't expect the drainage patterns to change from what's currently there. If you look at a large portion of the southern boundary has kind of a steep swale, natural swale, or a little valley And so we'll be filling that a little bit, but there still will be a subtle swale there. So that should prevent any runoff from entering the neighbor's property.
I almost feel I should jump down to your notes here, right? So here's this, is this the doc? This is where you're referring to, right?
Yep, yeah, exactly, yep. Kind of in the lower right corner.
Over
Yeah, a
here?
little more to the right. Yeah, there, right there, yep. So you can see there's a natural depression there. We're gonna raise that a little bit, but there still will be a depression.
Okay.
1D for the identified gravel parking. Identify it as to be abandoned or modify the curb. We do want to keep that gravel parking area, so I pulled the curb line back a little bit. Otherwise, it's going to be left alone. 1E, a detail for the retaining wall. That's shown on sheet 2 of my site plans. All the retaining walls will be substantially similar. They're constructed from what's commonly called mafia blocks. They're large 2-foot by 2-foot square concrete blocks that kind of have a groove on the top to lock together. So we'll be having 2 courses of that for the retaining wall. There will be a perforated pipe behind it to provide drainage. And again, a detail is shown on sheet 2.
We should almost have a side-by-side on these things, but we aren't there yet. Or we can do it on some platforms, not on this one. All right.
Yeah, it's
So,
a lot of scrolling, I know.
okay, where are we here? The mafia block is,
Yeah, right there, yep.
okay, right here. Got
Right
it.
there, just uphill of the house. And then if you keep scrolling down to the second sheet, you can see a detail to the right a little bit, up and right. There it is, concrete block retaining wall detail. Moving down.
So just to clarify, Daniel, there are actually 3 concrete block retaining walls. One
Yep.
is to the west of the house, and 2 are to the east of the house on the pond side of the house. And the purpose of those retaining walls are what, Daniel?
The purpose is to prevent erosion and to make the lawn a little bit flatter and more user-friendly for my client. If we actually, while we're on that topic, if you want to scroll up a little bit to my larger cross section.
Is that it?
Yep, that's it. Yep. Now previously we were proposing a continuous 2-to-1 slope from the driveway down to the water. There was a lot of fill. And now this second retaining wall that we've added closer to the water, that allows us to leave the shoreline largely unchanged. There's very little filling or modifications to the first 15, 18 feet along the shore. You can see there's only a few inches of fill proposed, basically just to level it out and provide a nice lawn surface.
Okay.
And then afterwards, the second tier is a little bit steeper and requires a couple feet of fill.
All right. Are there other points on your checklist there, or did we cover them all?
Nope, I'll continue. Stay on this sheet, please, if you don't mind.
Certainly.
Marla's next comment was to provide a narrative of the methodology for the construction of the revetment, which is also provided if you scroll to the left a little bit. I have some notes talking about how that's going to be built. We're going to start at the north end of the property and work our way south. We're going to try and construct this in sections about 50 feet at a time, a couple 50-foot sections. And
On the larger,
nope, sorry, it's on the second sheet. Second sheet.
is this the second sheet?
That's first sheet, sorry.
Okay, let me go to the second.
Yep, right there, up, left,
Right here, left?
left. There it is,
Further left.
construction sequence for revetment.
Oh, there you go. Okay, got it.
So that's kind of, I spoke with the contractor at length. I think we came up with a strategy that works. And that also kind of leads into the next comment, which was a sequence of construction for all aspects of the project, which is provided just below. It talks in general terms about how the project will proceed. The next comment, identify the design and specifications for a graded filter blanket is an alternative to the proposed geotextile used on the revetment. So again, if you could scroll back to the revetment cross section. Previously, we were proposing 3 inches of crushed stone along with a filter blanket or a geotextile fabric. In speaking with Marla and the contractor, they feel that due to the size of the stones that we're placing, the geotextile could get torn. So what we've decided as an alternative is to double up the crushed stone and get rid of the geotextile. So now we're proposing 6 inches of 1-inch crushed stone as a bed for the larger blocks that will compose the revetment. Next comment, 2E has to do with the specifications, installation, and relocation instructions for a turbidity curtain to be used out in the water. Previously, we had proposed either some staked straw wattles or straw hay bales, but due to how rocky the bed of the lake is at that location, we felt that stakes would have a tough time really working. What we're proposing instead is a turbidity curtain. This is, if you're familiar, it's basically there's a float, a cylindrical or square float that floats on the top of the water, and there's a blanket or a fabric that hangs down into the bed of the lake that prevents any kind of silt or erosion from contaminating the larger water body. So we will have this turbidity curtain. I did specify, I sent a specification to Marla for the type of turbidity curtain, the manufacturer. It's a standard type 1 turbidity curtain, which is what's commonly used for water with low velocities. So it's not something you'd use on a river or on the ocean, but for this use, it should be sufficient. And then again, going back to the notes on the revetment construction, that has notes built in about the type of turbidity curtain, how to provide anchorage to the shoreline, how to move it, etc. Coming down to, I believe, Marla's last comment, number 3, there was a concern that the contractor might not know where the property line is and could encroach onto the neighbor's property. I explained to Ms. Butts that there is an existing fence that's right on the property line within an inch or 2. And so I think that's sufficient monumentation to prevent any encroachment onto the neighbor's property. I believe that's all of Marla's comments, and I have addressed them.
Thank you.
Just a last point, I'll add that we did receive our NDDH approval. That letter was given on September 1st.
Okay. Ms. Butts, is there anything else that needs to be addressed?
So a lot of what virtually everything that I had on my list was addressed. The only thing that I would come up with is if you go back to sheet 1, where you can see the revetment and the retaining wall. The revetment gets, according to the sequence, gets constructed first. And then they talk about excavating for the foundation and then building the retaining walls after the foundation is excavated out for the house. The only thing that in looking at it now tonight, that I see that probably should have been added was once the revetment is completely constructed, a silt fence should be installed at the uphill side of the revetment because the rest of the site is going to be potentially disturbed and could drain down into the lake over the revetment.
I'd like to,
although it would have to go through the revetment. Go ahead, Daniel.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there. I can address that. And actually, if you look, I have a note specifying that a wood chip berm is to be constructed at the top of the revetment. This was a suggestion by the contractor as kind of a free, environmentally friendly way to prevent any erosion. So that's what we were specifying in terms of silt fence, but we did have some erosion control in place.
Marla Butts again. So the only question would be how that that wood chip berm will wrap around the ends to catch the ends of the sediment that could run off the site towards the northern end to the extent of the land disturbance, so that it would have to extend all the way up to where the end of the land disturbance is. And this can be adjusted in the field depending on if the wood chip berm appears to be not performing as expected, then it could be required to have a silt fence installed behind the wood chip berm if that's necessary. The wood chip berm on the south side towards the Harger property may or may not be adequate depending on how the conditions are, exactly where the fencing is, and if the wood chip berm extends up along the fencing, that could catch that runoff. However, the wood chip berm may not be able to withstand the velocities of the flows coming down the hill, and that will have to be looked at in the field also. My overall comment on this application is there's been significant improvements over the design from the first ones that we saw in July. A lot of the questions have been answered. At last month's meeting, there was a concern about trusting whether the contractor would do what was on the plans based upon past history. And the only suggestion that I can make at this time is that if the commission decides to grant an approval and it's not sure that it trusts the contractor, then they can always require that prior to the initiation of the rest of the construction, that once the revetment is completed, that an as-built drawing be supplied of the revetment so that it's very clear what was built and that it was built in accordance with the approved drawing. All the other concerns about erosion and sediment control typically that might exceed what's in this plan, unforeseen, can be addressed as some of the standard conditions that the commission has in issuing any inland wetlands permit. And those adjustments can be made by me and by the commission as a requirement should an unforeseen problem be found.
Thank you. So at this point,
Wood chip burns have been used in replacement of silt fences or hay bales, and they have worked very effectively as long as they are not exposed to high flows or high energies. So that's my comments.
all right, thank you. So there were a number of questions and concerns during our last commission meeting on this application. And do any of the commissioners have questions of Ms. Blanchette or of Marla regarding the Mark Bears application?
Barbara Roach here. I have a couple questions.
Sure.
Firstly, how far will the turbidity curtain go into the pond from the water's edge?
The
May say it in the instructions, but it's kind of small and I couldn't see if it did.
So the turbidity curtain that we're specifying is 5 feet in height, so it can be installed at a depth of up to 5 feet. I suspect the contractor, for convenience, will want to install it at a lesser depth of maybe 2 to 3 feet.
2 to 3 feet in height, or 2 to 3 feet into the water?
In height. So maybe 5 or 6 feet into the water.
Okay.
Barbara, maybe I can help to understand this. Turbidity curtains typically float, the top of the float sit on the top of the water. The curtain is pretty impervious and sits down, and in this case will probably sit on the bottom, so that if there's any turbidity that's generated that gets into the water, it stays behind the curtain. And then once the work is done and the water settles out, then the curtain is moved to the next location where there's going to be some disturbance and turbidity. It's intended to keep the sediment close to the site of construction and not allowed to go into the water, farther into the lake. It's not to say that there won't be any sediment that enters into the near shoreline. It just controls it and keeps it very close to the shoreline and not migrate out into the rest of the water body.
Okay, Barbara Rocher. So we could
Does that
expect
help?
5 to 6 feet of sediment from the edge of the shoreline into the pond till it gets to the turbidity curtain, correct?
Correct.
Am I getting that? Okay,
Yes.
okay.
I'd like a point of clarification. Charlie Obert here. What I just heard Commissioner Roach say, 5 to 6 feet of sediment, but is it actually, it's a fairly thin film of sediment that may be up to 5 feet away from the shoreline and to below the surface of the water, but it's not going to be 5 feet deep, is it?
No, no, it'll just be a thin layer of sediment that's naturally disturbed from excavating the shoreline. There won't be fill per se in the lake.
Okay, that's what I thought, but when I heard her question, it made me wonder if I believe that I'm correct. Okay, thank you.
Barbara Rocher, one more question, Daniel. Will additional rocks be required? There are a lot there now. Will more need to be brought in?
I'm sorry, additional,
The rocks for the revetment?
I'm not sure actually how many, I'm not sure if they need to bring more rocks on site, I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Any other commissioners or concerns? You know, perhaps you could address for me we had a lot of discussion around the branches that were in the edge of the pond. Have those? Did I read that those have been removed?
Marla Beth
Commissioner-
speaking. Yes. Go ahead, Charlie.
Yes, I was just going to say, I was out there with Marla shortly after our last meeting, and as far as I could tell, that had been addressed.
All right, so it's satisfactorily addressed. You were on site and you took a look at it. All right then. So at this point, unless are there other commissioners that wish to comment? All right, Marla,
George,
what's
one last comment.
yes?
I would recommend that if the commission is going to approve this application, that they require the submission of an as-built upon completion of the revetment to verify that it has been built in accordance with the approved drawing prior to the initiation of other construction, and that such as-built plan be approved by the commission.
No, to
Or
require an
be
as-built,
reviewed and approved by the commission.
reviewed and approved. Require an as-built and have it reviewed and approved prior to construction.
I make a motion that
No, prior to the-
application, the application, I'm looking for the number here.
It's IWA 20022.
Yes, that this be approved with the proviso that the construction of the revetment be clearly delineated and drawn up and presented to this commission before the next step of work is continued.
Okay, you've got a motion to do so. Do we have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, Commissioner Moreno, second the motion. All those in favor of approving the application, please signify by saying aye.
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 All those that are opposed? All right, there are no opposition, no objections. The application IWA 2002 with the qualifiers vote has passed and the permit's approved.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
So just for the
Thank you.
applicant, George,
Okay.
just for the applicant's information, I will draft up the permit for George's signature. And once George signs it, then it will be mailed out by certified mail to the applicant and with copies going to the appropriate entities.
Thank you.
Okay.
Right. Thank you, Marla. Let's moving on to the next application. I didn't jump over it. NDDH approval. All right, the next item. There are two items here from the same site. So should we look at them in total, or should we just read one and modify it? But it's WAA 20023, Thomas Murray, 0 Sandam Road, Assessors Map 114, Block 24, Lot 60B. Discharge of footing drain associated with the construction of new single-family homes, stamped received on 6/18/2020, under review pending receipt of additional information. This is an old application, and would it be inappropriate to include both of these, or I can just, I'd like to just say
No,
ditto, but
It would be appropriate. They are two adjoining lots.
right,
So the comments that I have on both of them are the same.
right. So there's also lot 6, the same essential elements, lot 60C, to construct a single-family home driveway and footing drain, portions of which are located in the 100-foot upland review area, stamped received on 6/18/2020, under review and pending receipt of additional information. So those are the two items on Sandam Road for Mr. Thomas Murray. So where do we stand on this one? Or these two?
We got a letter, well, actually, the engineer, Bruce Woodis, got a letter from the Natural Diversity Database dated July 26th. And in that, they stated that they reviewed their database files and the maps that he supplied for the two homes. And according to their records, they have significant natural community identified as a poor fen and multiple state endangered and threatened species just downstream of this property. The riparian area runs through this property, is hydrologically connected to the poor fen. And then she lists a number of species that are associated with poor fens and the hydrology of the property. There's a total of 4 endangered species in the poor fen and 2 threatened species and 2 species of special concern. She talks about the poor fen and then states that these are significant natural communities that are natural peatlands occupying a topographically defined basin. They are often very deep, poorly decomposed peats, primarily by ericaceous plants. The subtypes include dwarf shrubs, shrub thicket, and saturated woodland. In order to protect the significant community. Now she's talking about the poor fen, not this site. Please adhere to the best management practices designed to protect wetlands and maintain at least a 200-foot vegetative buffer from all wetlands, from all activities to maintain the ecological integrity of this special type of natural community. During construction, strict erosion and sediment controls should be maintained. She says alteration to the natural hydrology poses a significant threat to this important natural community. When considering development activities, minimize actions that will change what water carries and how water travels to this community, both on the surface and underground. She then goes on to continue to state about the species, but she says in order to protect the state listed species associated with this poor fen, the following protective strategies are required. A 200-foot minimum vegetative buffer from any wetlands. No herbicides or pesticides should be used on these lots, and do not discharge stormwater into the wetlands or subsoils. This determination is good for 2 years. Well, I did a little research about poor fens, and this site is not a poor fen. If there is a poor fen, it's located in Jerry Swamp. Jerry Swamp has been identified as one of Thompson's 10 significant wetlands. It has an upland review area of 200 feet. The area that is here, and I went out and looked at it with Commissioner Aubert to see what I could see, and pretty much the area is bordered by the runoff that comes out of Little Pond carries the 5 Mile River under Jezersky Lane, Jezersky Road, and then through a shrub swamp, the Sand Dam Road, which was recently, the culvert and bridge was recently replaced with a culvert, and then on to Jerry's Swamp. To do what she suggests about keeping a 200-foot vegetative buffer from any wetlands would make these 2 lots totally unbuildable. And they do, since they are not along the fen itself, and they are, according to the data that was provided by the soil scientist, on basically an outwash plain, which is very gravelly. The application does not warrant a 200-foot vegetative buffer. The question of preventing herbicides or pesticides from being used on these lots, that's very hard to enforce. And there is no proposal to discharge stormwater into any wetlands or wetland soils. The only thing on one of the lots is the discharge of the curtain drain, and the other has part of the home, the driveway, and the footing drain in the 100-foot upland review area. So I asked Mr. Woodis, who is the engineer for this project, to provide me with the square footage of the area that's disturbed in the upland review area, as well as modify the plans to show me exactly where the land disturbance was going to be for the construction of these homes, to ensure that we didn't get somebody doing unnecessary land disturbance that that would be identified on the plans. So I'm awaiting those revised drawings from the engineer, Bruce Wittes, and after that is my intention to issue the wetlands agent approval. And then if somebody has an objection to that, they can appeal that to the commission, and the commission can render a decision on its own. That's my position on these applications.
Thank you for those insights and the work on poor fens. I'm curious, do any of the commissioners have any questions of our wetlands agent as respects this proposed home site? I guess
it was interesting. I do have one comment. It was interesting when the Natural Diversity Database reviewed the town of Thompson's application to replace the bridge on Sand Dam Road with a culvert, they did not make any of these comments. They only identified one species that was of concern for that work. And I thought road work might be of greater concern than house construction, but it was not.
I see. So I do have a couple of questions on this. It strikes me that either the advisor, the state individual you're referencing that provided this criteria was not fully informed about the site, or are they just speculating? So is it conditional, saying if in fact it is one of these things, this condition, you must do it, but having not actually been to the site, not actually taken a look at it, is that a fact? Is that a fair assessment here?
I would say yes. This site does not border a poor fen. Typically,
Okay.
Poor fens are the result of old kettle holes filling in. Kettle holes are created when the glaciers left and left a large chunk of ice.
Right.
And for example, Little Pond is probably a very large kettle hole. And over time, these kettle holes fill in with organic material. And as the organic material fills in, the water becomes more acidic. And if it continues to fill in, the kettle hole ultimately becomes a bog. So poor fen is more like a predecessor to a bog, which usually has very limited inflow and next to no outflow, but it can have some. This one has a much larger watershed and has a much larger flow through. So Dairy Swamp will probably never become a bog, but it probably has some characteristics of a poor fen along its borders. So I don't know if that answers your questions. Well, the vegetative types that were next to this property are more like a shrub swamp
Right.
with tussock sedge. They didn't have the acidic loving plants around it as much
All right.
as
So
it would be a shrub swamp.
my observation was that you're, you know, a subject matter expert. You went to the site, you evaluated it, and have determined that it's not, in fact, what the criteria would warrant to prevent further development. So therefore, there's, in your view, there's nothing that would prohibit us from moving forward with this application. Is that a fair statement, or am I misreading it?
There's nothing that would prohibit me from moving forward with the application. And then if somebody should object, there is an appeal process to the Wetlands Commission where those facts could be weighed out a little more differently than what I have done. I will have a memo to the file identifying my position,
right.
so that my position will be well known, at least in the documentation.
All right. Thank you for that. Commissioners, comments, observations, anything, next steps?
Just a comment, Mr. Wood is here at the meeting. He
Yes,
can
Would you
probably
like to
make
comment?
some comment.
well, first of all, Marla, thank you for your, your excellent efforts in researching this. And I'm glad that we're able to move beyond it. And the only reason why Marla doesn't have the plans, the revised plans in her hand is we were on a holiday weekend and my designer draftsman was on a vacation, and his parents came up to visit him and had a serious car accident on the way up to, they were on their way up to Hampton Beach at the end of last week. And fortunately, they're going to be okay. They were pretty shook up and they've lost their car. And the bottom line is that he has spent his vacation and now into this week tending to his parents and getting them settled in and out of doctor's visits and getting the car towed and that sort of thing. So I expect to have the plan to Marla as soon as he's able to work, which I believe will be tomorrow. So, but again, thank you for your efforts, Marla. That's great research that you did. And the other thing that should be pointed out is that these two lots are previously approved subdivision building lots back in the 90s. They were surveyed by Al Fitzbach, wetlands delineated, site plans prepared and approved back at that time. We are going through this all again because the soils tests are of such an age that they had to be redone. And of course, the development requirements are slightly different for the wetlands permit. So here we are again, but these are two existing approved building lots. And so it was quite disturbing to get that letter from the NDDB saying a 200-foot buffer, which would take it beyond the road. We would have no room to build. So thank you for your attention to it.
Okay, next steps.
I'll have, thanks.
Other comments?
Barbara Roach here. Can we make a motion to approve both applications for once Marla sees the revised plans and if it meets her satisfaction, so we can go ahead?
I can answer that for Barbara. The decision to issue a wetlands agent approval is mine. The statute provides for a 2-week period for appeal to the commission if somebody objects after I publish the legal notice that I've issued the wetlands agent approval. So it technically could come back to the commission, but it's not really within the commission's wheelhouse right now. It will be if somebody appeals it. And that's the reason why I'm informing you of the issues.
Okay, sorry.
Great. All right then. Sounds like we're able to move forward on this then, or is there more to it, Marla?
Thank you very much, everyone.
All right, Mr. Wood, thank you. All right, Marla. So we'll move on to the next application. Let me find my 26. It's either A2 0026, WBA Real Estate LLC, 22 Woodstock Road, Assessors Map 29, Block 104, Lot 23. Septic repair, parking lot improvements, and access road for further site development. Stamped received by Town Clerk 7/10/2020, converted to individual permit application and statutorily received on 8/11/2020. So WBA, Woodstock, is that Woodstock Building Associates?
That is correct, George. Janet Blanchett is here for the applicant. She and I looked at the site together about a week or so ago. Revised plans have been submitted, and they were in the Zoom documents. If you go to those revised plans, Janet can explain, and then I can give you my input after she explains
Fine.
how the system is supposed to work.
Page 32, I believe, is one set of, is that the correct one, Janet?
Yes, I'm Janet Blanchett, professional engineers with J&D Civil Engineers from Thompson. Your sheet 32 is like an overview. It shows the whole property, so that is a good place to start. Or will you be, is the screen being shared?
It is now. Okay, wait a minute. My error. Let me just, I knew I forgot something. Let me share my screen here. There it is. Share it. All right, sorry. Okay, Ms. Blanchett.
This,
You should see it.
Yes, so this sheet pretty much shows the whole property. You're probably all aware of the Village Plaza on Route 131, 171. Woodstock Building Associates is renovating the whole plaza to move their headquarters there. Right through the middle of the property, flowing from north to south, is an intermittent stream that is culverted under their back parking lot. And the whole back parking lot today is gravel. And there is a septic system for the plaza back there, which was failing. So, you know, essentially this is a whole renovation project. I think perhaps if you, perhaps if you could go to the next sheet, page 33, Mr. Chairman. This,
Right.
yes, so this is a blow up, just larger scale of the back behind the building area. There'll be a driveway constructed to the north with a new pumped repair septic system. And you can see there's a dashed line which represents right where your little hand is, the 100-foot upland review area, correct. And above that to the north is where the repaired septic system will go. That's correct. Basically the whole back parking area is within the 100-foot upland review area, and it's currently, you know, uneven gravel. So to create an attractive and safe parking lot for the employees, they would like to pave that. The drainage for that paved parking lot will, and for the rooftop runoff from the building, will all flow into rain gardens or stormwater infiltration basins. So there won't be any direct discharges to that wetland or the downstream water course. The first option will be the infiltration through the low impact development features. And then as they fill up, there'll be like an overflow catch basin that will, catch basins in each one of them that will flow. Yep, those are the stormwater infiltration basins, and lower down you can see two rain gardens that will take the roof leaders. And those will be piped to like the outlet end of the existing 18-inch RCP. So technically on this application, there isn't work within the wetland, but clearly the work is going pretty much right up to the edge of the wetland in the vicinity of the parking lot.
Thank you.
So for the commission's benefit, The features that have been placed in to manage the stormwater that were seen on sheet 2, which is page 33 of the Zoom documents, it's actually a significant improvement over what is currently there. The reason why the application is before you and not before me is because at last month's meeting, we converted it into an individual permit due to the direct discharge into the intermittent water course from the stormwater management system, where the discharge is at the outlet of the existing culvert. And you can see that in the lower central portion of where your hand is moved to the left.
Yeah, I'm trying to make it larger. How's
Go
that?
down. My screen works a lot slower than you guys. Any case, all of the erosion and sediment controls that were identified on here should actually improve the runoff coming from this site. And the fact that they have a relocated septic system will also be of benefit because the existing system is not adequate, the septic system. So there was nothing in this application that would warrant a denial. In fact, I think the design is very good. If you have any interest in looking at stormwater management basins, there are some on the YMCA in Putnam that would work somewhat similar to the 2 stormwater management basins, the infiltration basins that she has here. The rain gardens have been something that's been promoted for managing roof runoff for some time now. So I would have no objection to the commission approving the application as applied for without other additional conditions other than the standard conditions that go on every permit.
Thank you, Ms. Butts. Commissioners, questions? Well, for the record, it sounds like our wetlands agent, it feels it's an improvement over the existing structures, and obviously there's a lot of engineering that's gone into this to make it, from what Ms. Flenchette's commented on, that it's improved the area. So do we need a motion to advance this? Do we have a?
Yes.
I make a motion that we approve application IWA 20026 for the real estate, Woodstock, WBA Real Estate LLC, Woodstock Road, Assessors Map 29, Block 104, Lot 23. Repair the septic system and parking improvements.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion made in second. Discussion? Comments? Okay, I'll observe that it's seems like it's very well thought out, and if it's going to improve the wetlands, then that's a step in the right direction. All right, no further discussion. We'd like to have a vote. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Are there any opposed? Okay, hearing no opposition, the motion is carried. The approval of the permit IWA 20026 is approved.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, let's move on to the next application. If I can scroll faster. Boy, there's a lot more stuff here. All right. So I've got a WAA 20027, Richard and Lynn Skronowski, 21 Richard Bennett Lane, Assessors Map 137, Block 7, Lot 5. Construct in-ground pool, shed, and driveway paving in the 100-foot upland review area, stamped received on 7/14/2020, approved 8/3/2020, legal notice published on 8/28/2020. Appeal period ends on 9/11/2020. Is there any further action required on this?
No.
Nothing. All right. So now we have 3 items here. It appears to be on the same block, block 31. Are these to be read together, or are they all separate and distinct items?
They are part of the Madison Avenue subdivision, and they are distinct separate applications. The first two for subdivision lot number 5 and subdivision lot number 6. Those have both been approved, legal notice published. They also have an expiration date of 9/11/2020. The third Madison Avenue Investments LLC is subdivision lot number 11, and that is under review. That is an application where the driveway is sandwiched between two wetlands, delineated mapped wetlands. And I've done a field walk, and I have asked for the engineer to review the drainage under the driveway. They propose no drainage, and I'm wondering if there's any cross culverts. So I've asked for, via email, detailed topography in that area to no greater than 1 foot contour intervals, so that I can figure out what's going on with the drainage and whether or not some cross culverts may be required. I would not want to see pooling on one side of the driveway because there wasn't a cross culvert. I'm not sure which way the water flows. If it flows through the driveway, it's an odd situation. So I'm waiting for additional information on that. And then the next, so that's is what we have for old applications with Madison Avenue.
All right, so those are 3, and we've touched on them. There's no further action required on WAA 20029, 30, and 31.
Correct.
All right, so those are, you were waiting for
Correct.
additional information under review. All right, moving on then to the next item, which is 32, which is WAA 20032, David Popolowski, 1247 Thompson Road, Assessors Map 116, Block 24, Lot 12. Reconstruct single-family home, septic system and driveway in 100-foot upland review area, stamped received on 8/3/2020, and this is under review.
Marla Butt speaking. This application was received. The only work that there is part of the septic system and driveway and home are in the upland review area. The septic system needs an approval by NDDB before I take any action on it. So it's being held up for the Northeast District Department of Health's approval of the septic design.
Okay, no further, so we're
No
pending
action is
that.
required.
No other action required.
Correct.
All right. All right. Moving on then to new applications. We have agenda item WAA, which is B sub 1, WAA 20033 Madison Avenue Investments LLC, 0 Madison Avenue, Assessors Map 103, Block 31, Lot 6R subdivision, Lot 18, septic system for new single-family home, stamped received on 8/12/2020 and under review. So what do we have here? Similar.
So on this one, this was the lot that contains the stormwater management basin for the drainage system to Madison Avenue. It was the subject of a permit a couple of years back for the construction of the stormwater management basin. Because at this point in time, the applicant is looking to build the house, I wanted to make sure that the plan that they supplied was accurate as to what was actually constructed. Because during the process of constructing the stormwater management basin, there had to be a modification made because there was slumpage on one of the sides of the basin, so they had to add stone. And I wanted to ensure that whatever the town took in its drainage easement was as was identified, so that if the homeowner goes in and does anything in the drainage easement area, we would have evidence as to what it was, because we'd have an as-built of the stormwater management basin. So I filed a request via email that they provide not only the as-built of the current conditions of the property, but also the language for the drainage easement, so that I'm sure that anybody who buys this property, buys this house, will be forewarned about what they need to be aware of for activities on the lot. And I'm awaiting a response from the engineer.
Okay, so it's under review and
So
I
no
posted.
action is required.
No action required. I did put up your email note here for everyone to see. Okay, moving on then, next to WAA 20035, Kenneth Weiss, 0 Thompson Road, Assessors Map 116, Block 24, Lot 56A-1. New single-family home, septic system, and driveway, stamped received on 8/24/2020, issued 8/31/2020, legal notice to be published on 9/11/2020, end of appeal period is 9/25/2020.
So there is a drawing that I gave you on the next page showing the property. The land to the south of this was Carol Weiss, Kenneth Weiss's mother. They replaced a septic system. And I believe this is also a site that Charlie Aubert and I passed by, and we noted that the 2 ponds that were on the Weiss's property were very low. They have no water that comes into them other than rainwater, so they're a reflection of the groundwater table. And if you scroll down to the picture I took from the street, you can see that where the house is proposed to be built is a grass lawn at this point in time. And the pond that is very dry, that is on Kenneth Weiss's property, is off on the right side of the photograph. So the house is basically being put in the lawn area. And so that's why I rendered a decision to approve that. I don't see any effect that it would have on that isolated ponded area. And it's not a vernal pool because it still has water in it now. Vernal pools typically this time of year would not have any water in them. But,
Any questions?
So that one's just waiting to the legal notice to be published.
All right, any applications received after agenda was published? Looks like we do have one. Is this it?
We have 2.
We have 2. Okay, whoops. Well, we'll start with the first one. DEC 20036, Town of Thompson, Sandam Road at 5 Mile River, Cross Culvert, Assessors Map 133, Block 24, no lot number. Replace existing beaver deceiver with a new deceiver consisting of a culvert protective fence for non-regulated use, conservation of wildlife, stamped received on 9/4/2020. That's one. And I guess should they be read together or are these separate?
No, this one first.
Okay.
If you scroll to page 49, provides a
49.
description.
I see it. Okay,
Page
it's up there
49.
now. Yep. A detailed project description.
And Mike Callahan, who will be the installer of the silt fence, is available to answer questions for you. But I would suggest that before we have him speak, scroll down now to page 50. It gives you the location. Gives you the location of the culvert on Sandam Road. Now, if you recall, we were talking about Murray's property, the 2 lots that got the NDD, the Natural Diversity Database, is concerned. They are located immediately to the northwest of that flag that you see on where it says Beaver Deceiver. And Mr. Callahan provided documentation to the town, which includes a stream stats report. And if you scroll down, you will see that the contributing drainage area is over a square mile.
I see.
And then there is, that's the drainage area in yellow.
Right.
And if you scroll down to the next page, 52, you'll see the design of the beaver deceiver that's being proposed to be installed at the direction of the town by Mr. Callahan. And then if you scroll to the next picture, to the next page down to 53, you'll see a picture of what that fencing, exclusion fencing looks like. Now, the alternative to having a deceiver of any type for beavers to prevent that problem is to basically kill the beavers, trap them out, shoot them, whatever. And so this application for a ruling came in because they're trying to conserve the wildlife. They're trying not to have to kill the beavers. And in order to save the beavers, they've got to do something else. And so initially, I raised questions and concerns about the structural stability of the fence, and that's why I got in contact with Mr. Callahan. And if you scroll down to page 58, there's a photograph of the first deceiver that I'm aware of that was put in to the bridge when it was a bridge by a former Public Works Director. Your screen is too big to see it. That, by the way, is the wetland that she called a poor fen, and that's not a poor fen. That's because in the background for this photograph is the Murray property that we were talking about earlier.
All right,
The next picture, if you, that did not work because the beavers just collected all the sediment on the grate that was surrounding the culvert inlet. So then they went to a different kind of deceiver, a leveler. I'm not sure exactly what the formal name is, but still the beavers would clog the bridge. So they put in screening by the bridge as well as had the deceiver, and the screening still got clogged. So that was, it became problematic from a maintenance standpoint. So at this point, and there's a close-up in the next picture, number 59, showing what that at the old bridge, what it looked like. Well, now that there's a new culvert there, that's it. That's correct.
Okay.
Now that there's a new culvert there, the design has to be something a little different, and it's still been problematic because this water, if it gets blocked here, it affects everybody on little pond. And so it becomes very important for the town to be able to maintain the free flow of water through the culverts that have been newly installed. And at this, I'm going to turn this over to you, Mr. Callahan, so you can explain how these fencing goes in and what the size of it would be at this location, so that the commission can understand how you intend to install it.
Mr. Callahan, go ahead.
Hi, it's Mike Callahan, Beaver Solutions. Thank you for having me here today. The fence that Marla was describing is designed in a way to discourage beavers from damming on it. Beavers are cued into plugging moving water, and culverts are the most common problem we see because if they plug the culvert, the entire roadbed becomes a dam. So they're very motivated to do that. So what this fence does is instead of a 2, 3, 4-foot culvert that they have to plug up, the fence creates a long perimeter. Typically, the side walls are at least 12 feet long, and that's about what they would be in this site. And that far wall would be about 8 feet wide. And it works in 3 ways. One is, you have now for like 40 feet, the beavers have to dam around instead of a few feet. So that discourages them, and it turns what was the easiest place for them to make a dam into the hardest. It won't stop them from damming elsewhere, and that could be a problem down the road. But the goal for the fence is to keep the culvert open, keep water flowing through it normally without any elevation of the water from from what the culvert design was. So they work very well, but in our experience, I've put in over 1,700 devices, primarily in Massachusetts, but some in Connecticut. And these fences have about a 96% success rate with the beavers there. They do require about an hour worth of cleaning per year, because you can't let leaves and sticks float up against it and build up, or the beavers will dam on it. But it's a very effective way to discourage beavers from plugging culverts.
Interesting. Commissioners, questions of Mr. Callahan?
This is Charlie Obert. I have a quick question. At the location where this new device will go in, there's an old railroad right-of-way. Am I correct that the property on the downstream side of that right-of-way is currently Wyndham Land Trust property? Or is
George,
that?
I'll answer that. George, I don't know. It becomes irrelevant to this application because this is the town's activity. And Jerry's Swamp, some of it is owned by the Wyndham Land Trust, but I don't know if the piece that's immediately next to the old trolley track is the Wyndham Land Trust. I can double check real quick online. I'll go to MapGeo.
I've got MapGeo
see
up
if I
right now.
can-
I have that up. So is this the right, am I at the right location?
That's the correct location,
Yes.
but go on the other side, go to the northeast where you see Jerry's Swamp. Click
Yeah,
there.
right there.
That's
Okay.
what he's asking, is that Wyndham
Wyndham Land
Land Trust?
Trust on the other side.
Yes.
There's a strip. Is that the town's property in between? I guess it is, yeah.
That's questionable. That was the old railroad right-of-way, and
Okay.
it's questionable who owns that right now. A little down to the right of that image, it's owned by the Butlers, who own a farm called Morning Beckons Farm. And that exact stretch of right-of-way is questionable. So this would correct the beaver deceiver that was put in by the previous DPW director?
Yes, it would
That's
replace that.
correct.
Okay, thanks.
So I'll
So
go back
this
to the
applica-
original. If you want,
Yeah.
I'll go back to this one.
This application is a request for a ruling that it is a non-regulated use for conservation, soil, water, and wildlife. And the application was made by the first select woman, Amy St. Ange. And because low flows are now, they would like to get the deceiver in very soon. In addition, the first select woman was able to obtain a grant for a couple $1,000s to help pay for the cost. And it has become a problem. The beaver problems have given quite a bit of headaches to the Public Works Director. So the town staff is on board with trying this attempt because the other attempts have not worked the way they want them. I would recommend approval of this as a non-regulated use.
That's a recommendation. We heard from our subject matter experts, Mr. Callahan, and our inland wetlands agent. Commissioners, questions of any of the issues? I know Commissioner Obert's come in with some questions. Anyone else have any thoughts?
No, do we have to actually make a motion on this? It's a declarative.
Yes, you do.
Okay, I make a motion that we approve DEC 20036, Town of Thompson, Sandam Road, to construct a 5-mile river cross culvert, Assessor's Map 133, Block 24, to replace existing beaver deceiver with the new ones.
Do I have a second?
A second?
Okay, the motion was made and second to approve this. beaver deceiver. Discussion. I don't hear any discussion. I would make an observation that certainly beavers are something that many of us are concerned with, and I certainly can appreciate that because of proximity to beavers and throughout the town and where I live. So certainly if we can preserve the environment and not harm the beavers and make them, minimize their impact, that'd be a real plus. So so we'll bring it to a vote if there's no further comments. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 And all those that are opposed, please signify. All right, the no opposition, the ayes have it. The proposal is approved, and we'll move forward on that as requested.
Rich, I will deliver to you the form request for you to sign so I can get a copy back to the first selectwoman, but I will let her know that it's been approved.
Of course. So she's the first selectwoman's no longer present, I guess.
No, I'm here, George. This is Amy Sainond.
Okay.
I just sent a thank you to the commission members in the chat.
Will do. Okay.
Everyone.
It's hard for me. I have to put my glasses on to read all that. It's too much here. Okay. All right.
Thank you,
very
everyone.
much. Great. Thank you, Mr. Callahan, for your expert assistance here, and also the Beaver Institute, I guess, is helping to fund this. I understand.
Yep. All right.
All right.
Thanks again.
Well done. All right. Moving on. We solved that challenge. Applications. Okay. Permit extensions and changes. There are.
No, George.
There's one other.
George,
There's one other.
You passed by one other.
Okay. What is that on 59? This is sort of interjected in my agenda.
That is on page 61.
Got it. All right. The second item that came in after agenda was published, and that is DEC 20037, Marisha and Akita Isufi, 4 Fairway Drive, Assessor's Map 77, Block 62, Lot 571, cleaning of man-made pond during low flow under maintenance and enjoyment of residential home. Stand received on 9/4/2020.
Marla Butt speaking. This application came in response to a complaint whereby the property owner contacted me after I left a card for him, and he explained the situation that he had. If you go to page 64, share the screen on 64.
Let me share the screen. Give me a moment, please.
Mm-hmm.
Where's my share button? Here it is. All right, you should see the screen.
I don't know if Mr. Isufi is still on board with us.
Let's take a look. How do I tell
don't
if
see
they're...
him. Well, what had happened, I don't see him still in the Zoom meeting. What had happened is I had received a complaint that somebody was throwing things into a pond at 4 Fairway Drive. I went out, took a look. I took some photographs. There is a photograph that you can see of the pond on page 66. If you go to page 66, what I found was that because of the low flows and the drought conditions that we've had, the pond level, it's a man-made pond. It was part of the original, reason why I call it Fairway Drive is because there was going to be a golf course there. And they had made a pond that had a liner in it, and then there was clay on top of the liner. Well, with the really low flow that they've got, all the fish died in the pond. And the property owner decided he wanted to clean the pond of accumulated sediments and had gotten started doing that. And then I contacted him and said, well, technically you really can't do that. There are mapped wetlands around the pond, but they're not very extensive. They're on the very edge of the pond. So I asked him to apply for a ruling regarding the pond. And so he did provide the explanation as to what he wanted to do. And given the fact that the water table is so low right now and that the fish all died in the pond, which has got to give quite a stink, I have seen fish kills before. That cleaning the accumulated sediment at this point in time makes sense as long as he does not touch the liner that was originally in the pond, and he said he didn't want to do that. So the only thing that I have told him that I felt was necessary is that he had to have a place to put the excavated material, which he said he would put it between the pond and the street. And that's shown on his drawing that he had. That's on page, it should be page 66,
65, I think, huh? Drawing?
65,
Yeah.
page 65. There is no water flowing at this point in time, so this is if he's going to remove accumulated sediments and the dead fish, it makes a lot of sense that he does that now and not wait for storms to come in. So if the commission granted an approval to clean the accumulated sediments from the pond and side cast them in the uplands, that he be required to complete his work within 30 days. Because by that time, the water table will start rebounding.
I make a motion that we approve DEC 20037 at Mirash and Al-Qaeda Isufus 4 Fairway Drive for the cleaning of the man-made pond during the low flow, and to have that work done within 30 days.
Do I have a second? We have a motion. We do need a
Commissioner
second.
Chapin, I'll second it.
Commissioner Chapin seconded the motion. So we have a motion made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All right, no further questions. Then we will vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Hearing no opposition, the ayes have it. The application is approved, and with the qualifications that were stipulated by the Commissioner Obert. All right, moving on then. Do we have no other applications, do we? Now we have violations.
No.
All right. Looks like my agenda is moving on. All right. So permit extensions, there are none. Violations are pending. So we have a violation 20013, Adrienne and Martin Joseph and Joseph Fagan, 208 Lighthouse Road, Assessors Map 36, Block 70, Lot 4. Clear cutting of trees and earth moving work in 100-foot upland review area. Notice violation issued on 5/14/2020. 7/14/2020 granted, extension to 10/1/2020 for completion of work. Are we complete? Is it complete?
On August 31st, oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
On August 31st, I sent Martin and Fagan a letter reminding them that they have till October 1st to complete the removal of the slash from the wetlands and to pull back the soil along the eastern boundary. So it's just waiting until October 1st. I drove by about a week ago and it had not been done yet, although there was grass growing on all the area where the trees had been cut. That's
Okay.
it for that one.
So no further action or pending the 10/1 date?
Correct.
I'm looking at my agenda. Maybe I printed out the wrong one, but I have one that's prior to this. Was that 20003? Or are they just out of order?
They're out of order.
Oh, there it is. Okay. So cease and the next item. So that one we can move on. Cease and restore order violation 20003. Scott Josie, 637 East Thompson Road, Assessors Map 154, Block 5, Lot 14. Filling of wetlands and work within 100-foot upland review area issued on 3/5/2020. Hearing and decision 3/10/2020. Soil scientist report submitted on 5/10/2020. Approved and to be work completed by 9/15/2020. So
The time still is open for him to complete the work. I drove by last week and the work was not yet completed.
All right, so we have
I
another,
will attempt to send him a reminder.
all right. So another further action. I believe did you and I look at this site?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
It looks the same, except there's now grass growing where there had been side casted organic materials.
All right, so we also have, I guess we compressed them on 2 slides. We'll start with Mark Bear. Violation 20018, Mark Bear, 1227 Thompson Road, Assessors Map 116, Block 24, Lot 10. Clear cutting trees and earth moving work in 100-foot upland review area for Little Pond. Notice violation issued on 5/27/2020. To cease tree cutting and earth moving work, install ENS controls, and by 6/3/2020, provide written explanation for work done and schedule for submitting application. Reference application IWA 20022 above. So, is there anything further?
With both of these notices of violation, they are closed with the issuance of the permit that you approved tonight.
All right, so that's done. That goes with 19 as well, or am I just?
Correct, because it was confirmed that the tree debris was taken out of the pond.
All right, so 18 and 19 have been addressed. So we'll move on.
Correct.
To the next item. And that is violation 20033, Jennifer Burlingame and Robert Lemieux Jr., 480 Aquatic Town Farm Road, Assessors Map 158, Block 20, Lot 8K, filling, earth moving within 100-foot upland review area and possibly within delineated wetlands. Notice of violation issued on 8/6/2020 to cease any further earth moving work, and by August 20, 2020, provide an explanation for the earth moving work and the reason why an approval was not sought prior to the initiation of work within 100 feet of delineated wetlands. What do we,
On
August
15th, I received an email from Jen and Rob Lemieux. They write, "Hi Marla, we are responding to the registered letter we received last Wednesday. We did not realize we were on the agenda, otherwise we would have tuned in. At the end of June, we had loam delivered to the house to spread in the backyard areas where the grass isn't growing that great. The rest of the loam was spread on top of the driveway turnaround that was already there when we purchased the house. We did not fill anything in. We simply put loam on the top so we can seed that area. Before the loam was spread, we pulled all the bayberry bushes near the turnaround and along the driveway edges because we have tons of ticks and we're told that bayberries are the reason why. This is why that turnaround is looking sparse, more open. I have attached a picture of the turnaround back from 2010 when this house was on the market. The black car shows the turnaround. We did not add to the footprint of the turnaround. We simply cleaned it up. Last year, we had a UPS truck drive off the edge of it because he couldn't figure out where the end of it was. Cleaning this area up allows someone backing up a better visual of where they should stop. If you need anything else, please let me know." So then I responded on August 26th. Back to them and said, "Thank you for your response and cooperation. To resolve any further questions regarding the claims that wetlands were filled, I would like to visit your property with your permission to measure the distance from the house and the retaining wall located to the north of the carport to the wetlands, to compare that with the information contained in record drawing 1547 on file in the town clerk's office." And I attached a PDF of that drawing. "Please let me know if and when I could come and take those measurements. I look forward to your reply." She did reply, and her reply stated, "Hi Marla, Rob is on vacation this week, coming starting Monday, which is Labor Day. Just let me know the day and time frame you were thinking, and I will make sure he is around." And I responded back with Monday, September 14th at a time between 10:30 and 2 p.m. If that works, let me know what the best time is. I await your reply, and I haven't gotten a reply back. So hopefully I will be able to close this violation out once we verify the statements by the Lemieux.
Okay. Any other questions on this point?
Yeah, Marla, it's Diane Chapin. Was that the one you sent me looking for pictures?
Yes,
And you did,
and the
did you
pictures
see
you
that
sent
I
me didn't really help answer
Okay,
my
I didn't
question.
think they would, but I just wanted to make sure you got them.
Yes, I did. Thank you.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you for the getting.
Yeah, no, they weren't. It wasn't. I didn't see anything that was going to be very helpful in them either, but that's what was there.
All right.
Yeah.
Hopefully it'll be clarified by 9:14. All right, moving on then. I think we've covered all the items. Other business, CACWIAC membership renewal for FY 20 to 21. What are we going to get? Are they going to have a conference this year?
I don't know. With COVID, I'm guessing not, but they do maintain their website, and they also put out the habitat quarterly. I haven't seen a habitat recently, so I'm not sure where they stand. It's not very much. We share it with the Conservation Commission, so we pay $60, I believe, is what our share is. But I wanted to make sure, even though you have authorized me to, in the bylaws, to issue anything under $100, this is less than 100, but I still want, and it's in the budget, the monies are there, but I would like the commission to approve the expenditure for the commission to Kakiwik. That's how it's
Kakiwik.
pronounced, Kakiwik.
Okay, CACWIC.
Mm.
I went to that thing once. So you're looking for a motion and vote on this?
Yes, to approve the expenditure of, the monies would be,
$60 our share?
no, it's 150 for two commissions. Yeah, it's $60, correct.
Okay, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the expenditure of $60 for the Kakiwik membership renewal for
do
fiscal
I-
year 2021.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, the motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor? Or I
Aye.
should say,
Aye.
any opposed? None, no opposition. The motion carries. The expenditure for CACWIAC membership is approved for 2021. Okay, as our application, I guess. Moving on, reports, budget and expenditures.
Diane, did I send that to you?
No, I was just going to say, I think we just spent some money on Kakiwik, but or whatever their name is, but that's all I know.
Okay, so there is no expenditure report. I apparently missed sending it to Diane.
All right,
I-
then.
Do not have a copy here at home.
I will have to get a
I
update
apologize.
at the next meeting, I guess. We'll catch up then.
Well, unless
you know,
Marla's gone on a shopping spree, we still have plenty of money.
well, we'll see. Are you on vacation in between now and then?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, see, look out. All right, well, just hopefully it'll be conservative. Next is Wetland Agent Report. Marla, what's up here?
Okay. So I will file a hard copy of the report, but I'm not sharing because I generally create this the day of the meeting or the day before, and I couldn't get it on the Zoom documents, but here goes. The River Junction Estates Court Appeal, it's the same as last month. It was argued and it's pending a decision at the appellate court. The same as last month. I've made no progress or very little progress on the MS4 annual report and the follow-up actions in getting contracts for fiscal year 2021. And the pre-1990 file destruction plan, I still have made absolutely no progress on that. And Fran, you had indicated a willingness to help me out with that. Does
Yes.
that offer still stand?
It does.
Okay, so maybe in October we can get together and I can show you what I'm doing with that. So
I'd like that.
you might be able to help me clear out those files.
Mhm.
Okay, great. All right, inspections and follow-up actions. Complaint 20-05, that was the reporting of pony manure off of Hiawatha Drive. And I still need to conduct a coordinated inspection with Carolyn Wirch to determine the course of action. It's kind of difficult in COVID. She and I have been trying to stay apart. I come in on Mondays, she comes in on Wednesday or Thursdays so that we don't expose each other. But we'll get to this maybe when the weather gets a little colder. Complaint 2010, that was the riprapping of the French River and Riverside Park. The closure of this complaint is pending the establishment of an accepted emergency operations protocol that needs to be put in place for future work. I think we still need to get verification from Amy St. Ange in writing that what the policy actually is going to be, so the Public Works Director is aware of it. There were 13 building permits that were reviewed. Under miscellaneous, today during an inspection of the North Grosvenordale Pond Dam, I found that the entire flow of the river was draining through the backside of the dam. I am very concerned. I sent an email to DEP with copies to various towns officials, and I will append a copy to my wetlands agent report, and I'll file this report with the records and forward a copy to you. There's a lot of complications. Thank you, George. This actually is a video. If you go back to that, George.
There it is.
Okay.
Can anyone see that?
Yeah, it's got a enjoying this app. Okay, so this is actually a video. So if you turn the video on, my system is really slow. The largest.
I do have the volume on mine. Am I the only one that can hear it?
I cannot hear it.
Let me choose something here.
So stop it. If you stop it, I'll just explain what's going on.
Okay, I stopped it.
Okay, so you see the concrete that's located behind the concrete spillway? The concrete spillway, there's two spillways on this. The primary spillway that was supposed to run all the time is the one that's closest to me taking the picture. The spillway in the central portion of the picture is a couple feet higher than the one that's in the foreground of the picture. And I'm not sure what
happened. Did I kill it?
Yeah. So this is the where the blue line is the principal spillway. So water should be going over that spillway, but it's not. It's all flowing in behind the concrete lip. Now you can see where historically they had done a concrete patch behind the concrete spillway, and now that has been undermined right where your arrow is.
Right.
And it's flowing quite substantially underneath that concrete. And then there's another piece farther into the background where there's another hole that's
Over
developed.
Here?
So
Over
this
here.
dam was identified over a year ago by Leonard Engineering as in poor condition, and DEP was supposed to be working with the dam owner regarding its repair. Now, if this dam were to, this is a high hazard dam, which means that if the dam were to fail, it would likely cause a loss of life and or property. The dam the river at this location has 99 square miles of watershed. And in Massachusetts, there are 2 Army Corps of Engineers flood control structures, but they are not on the main stem of the French River. They are on side water courses to help control the peaks. We have a very active hurricane season this year, and my concern is that with these holes developing in greater enlarging, that the interior structure of this dam is being weakened, not only at this spillway, but the spillway in the foreground of in the background of the picture. You can see a large wet spot where water has been flowing out for a long time. That's the dark portion in the central part of that spillway in the background. Significant amount of water is flowing outside of the the structure itself. So it could, this dam, they haven't identified its structure, but I think it's most likely a timber cribbing dam, which means they built timbers, they filled that cribbing up, and then they put a stone face on it. There you get a very close view of how the water is flowing into. So I'm really, really concerned, because if this were to fail and create a flood wave, there is an inundation map that Leonard Engineering did in 1996 when the Army Corps of Engineers paid for the investigation of all high hazard dams in Connecticut. And that inundation map shows that 3 rows, the village in North Grosvenordale, that's the old
Right.
the old housing for the mill, they call it 3 rows, that would become inundated. And the houses that are along Route 12 would also become in, they're within the path of the inundation area. In addition to that, to complicate it even more, DOT has done an evaluation of the bridge on Buckley Hill Road and found it to be deficient. And so if the dam were to go, the question is could it take out the bridge on Buckley Hill Road and then sweep on down and take out other structures and damage other properties? DEP has had it on their radar screen. I've been talking to them since 2016 about this. Could be even earlier, but I don't know what they're doing about this. So I sent the video and the photographs to them and asked, as soon as possible, please notify the Wetlands Office, the Thompson First Selectman, Amy St. Ange, the Emergency Management Director, Steve Benoit, as to the status of the actions DEP has taken and that the dam owner has taken to place the dam in a safe condition. And I'm awaiting their reply. Subsequent to this, I sent a copy of this also to the Public Works Director. He has told me that he's going to be getting in touch with Steve Benoit, the Director of Emergency Management, along with emergency staff from, I believe, the fire department. And they're going to try to work out how would they, if this dam was getting ready to let go, if we had a storm coming with a lot of rain coming in Massachusetts, because most of the watershed is in Massachusetts, what could they do to protect those people that could potentially be adversely affected by a flood wave that could come down if this dam were to fail? So even though the state has not yet come up with an emergency operation plan from the dam owner, the town has to start at least looking at what it can do to prevent a loss of life. And that kind of consumed my day today, trying to deal with that. So I apologize if I missed some of my inspections. I've done a lot of inspections, but I didn't report them here because they didn't result. They're just basically checking on sites and what conditions are. So that's it for my wetlands agent report. I will forward a copy of it to you all tomorrow.
Wow. So if this is such a serious condition, isn't there a time frame that they must act in? I mean, you can't just say, yeah, we've got the serious problem. We're going to watch it.
This is in the hands of the state of Connecticut. The laws regarding dam safety basically state that the Inland Wetlands Commission is advisory only when it comes to permitting of dams. The enforcement authority is with the state. The state has the ability to issue an order to place the dam in a safe condition and put timelines in that order for that. And if the dam is found in imminent danger of failing, the state can step in and execute actions to place the dam in a safe condition. Typically, what the state has done in the past is they will remove part of the dam to lower the hazard so that the impoundment gets smaller and so that the failure causes potentially less damage. But they haven't done that. As far as I know, there's been no orders issued on this dam, even though it's been identified as being in poor condition over a year.
Right. Well, thank you for the report. Commissioners, any other questions of our inland wetlands agent?
I have a comment about that dam and Marla's last statement. I've seen that kind of thing happen in the past where just blocks are removed so that there's not so much water behind it. I've also seen where there was a lot of concern that the soil and sediment upstream of the dam could have been contaminated. In the case that I'm most familiar with, that proved not to be true. But if Amy St. Ange is still on, she may want to make footnote of the fact that the company that wants to develop the mill site, that developer kept looking at that and saying what a great asset it was, what a great gem it is. Currently, that's owned by a bank. And I think that the bank was just purchased by another bank. But if we expect to try to recoup that as an asset to the future developer, she should get behind Marla's request and push now, because otherwise we're going to find that they've just come in and removed enough of the brickwork, the stonework to mitigate the problem. Didn't mean to bore you.
This is a
Sorry,
comment
George.
for you, George.
No, it's good. I'm sorry.
The bottom sediments in North Grosvenordale Pond Dam are contaminated. In the mid 90s, a prior owner went to do repairs to the dam, and the low-level outlet structure failed, releasing the bottom sediments down the river and into Mechanicsville Pond, or the Mechanicsville Reservoir. That contamination could not be recaptured. It stayed and flowed into the Mechanicsville Reservoir. So we know at that time the bottom of the impoundment eroded into whatever remained in the impoundment, but because the low-level outlet structure failed, it swept a whole bunch of stuff down. That's not to say that if they were to take down, now the owner could arguably come up with a plan to place the dam in a safe condition that lowers the spillways of the dam so that there's less water impounded, which would mean North Grosvenordale Pond would become much smaller and the bottom sediments would be exposed, and there would be head cutting of the sediments at the upper end, which are contaminated, which would then flow down into the remaining impoundment and slowly fill that in. So it's a really complicated thing to repair this dam, whatever way you decide to do it. But the ownership, it's not in the name of a bank, it's technically in the name of an LLC, and there are some legal issues involving the ownership of the dam, because apparently the LLC that owned the dam attempted to carve off the dam and give it to another LLC, creating kind of like a corporate veil. And these are conditions that only a lawyer can answer, because you can only do a free split of land once. And that was done by a prior owner when they gave the town 14 acres behind the Knights of Columbus. That's when the lot of record had its first split. So they can't split it again legally and carve the dam off of the rest of the property. It'll be interesting to see how this works its way out. But the town, I think Steve Benoit's right. He left me a voice message that said they've got to start at the town level trying to figure out how they're going to deal with this if something happens. And the state and the dam owner hasn't done what was needed to do to create a safe condition. At least come up with an emergency operation plan. There isn't one as far as we know. So we don't even know who they would be contacting or who should be contacted. And how do you contact them? Do you have a robocall that goes out to the property owners that might be affected? How do you get their phone numbers? I mean, these are all things that would have to be worked out. It's not an easy issue to address, but it is an important one.
Well, if I could offer some thoughts there, you know, I did have my headset on throughout my short video breakdown there, but the you know, there's a service of process. You know, these are legal, as you point out, these are legal questions, but there's a service of process, whoever the owner is, and you know, if they aren't if you can't locate them, you can track them down And, there's a procedure for this, and clearly council needs to weigh in on it. Somewhat alarming that you've identified a potentially catastrophic hazard, and we need, action should be taken or some decision should be made to, remedy it in some way. So I guess we have to be vigilant. I'd hate to read about, a catastrophic failure, then they go back and do the research and they say, well, it was discussed at length that they were in the Wetlands Commission, and, the results are for the record here. So hopefully we can get some further action, whether it's through the town or through the state. I've watched situations that had catastrophic failures and everyone was studying it and then it failed. So, to Charlie's point. So I think we have to be, maybe find a way to, elevate it, whether that be through the media perhaps, somehow, bring it up so that it can be addressed. Either have people come in and say, nope, it's not a problem, or yep, we're going to fix it. Because as you point out, they're, the life safety issues. Thank you. Any other comments?
George, this is Amy St. Ange, if I could comment.
Of course, please.
Just to let everybody know, our attorney has been in contact with the attorney that represents now Centerville Bank in regard to the dam issue. And we're just awaiting, some answers. And hopefully some timelines on repair of the dam.
Good. So no doubt they'll be interested in receiving all the information that Marla was able to capture and identify, or do they already have that, do you think?
Any new information?
Well, Amy, I did
need to provide.
Go ahead.
Any new information that you have, Marla, I'd be happy to make sure that it gets forwarded from Halloran and Sage to Attorney Block, who represents Centerville Bank.
So I did send that email out today with all the attachments at about 1:07, and you should have gotten a copy.
Yep, I did.
With all of the attachments.
Yes, I did read that, and I will make sure. Of course, I'm out of the office. I'm visiting my son right now, so I'm out of state. But I'll be happy to forward that to Ken Slater tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay, just as an aside, the two people in dam safety that I sent it to, their emails came back as undeliverable because the size of the documents exceeded their allowed limit.
Right.
But it did not come back from Commissioner Dykes or anybody else. And I resent emails both to the Yvonne Hall and Kartik Aparek, and I divided the attachments into two files. So the information is out there, and we'll just have to wait and see what comes back, because with COVID, everybody's working from home.
Okay. But no, I think you did everything you can do. I did want to observe, and you pointed out correctly that the size of those files, I mean, there's many firms have, document thresholds. Further, you sent the video, which is an MP4 or something file, and some filters won't allow those through because of their active, those types of files often carry cyber threats and all the other things that can come in the email these days. So it seems like we're all aware of it. I guess if you can download it and mail it to them as an email, as a USB drive, then maybe that's the another way to do it. But okay, let's hopefully we won't have any issues. We don't have a flood yet. This winter and spring thaws haven't come yet, so we have to wait for that. All right. Any other comments from your agent's report? How about correspondence, item J?
Nothing.
No correspondence. All right. So
the only thing that we got was the Kakiwick renewal.
All right. Comments by commissioners? Any further comments? Okay. Last call for comments. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. A motion to adjourn and has been seconded as well. If there are no objections,
Stay safe.
Okay, so the meeting is then adjourned. The time is